Hey guys, how's everybody doing? It's Lou. Back today to do a contest video, a video in support of Steve Carlson's channel. Steve's hit the 1,000 subs mark and he's holding a contest, I guess, which is your 5 go-to albums. So everybody, I think, in the VC knows Steve, a great channel. He does his early morning Sunday show videos, high energy. I don't know where the guy gets it, but you know, I think 4 o'clock, 4:30 on a Sunday morning, and he's up doing his videos. So really enjoyable, really positive guy. Shows a very wide range of stuff, which is enjoyable to watch as well, but just a really great guy. And so I decided to do a video for his contest. I haven't done a contest video in a while. I've seen a couple other videos out in the VC. I think Hannah did one, and I'm not sure, I can't remember, so I apologize who else I've seen. But when I saw Hannah's video, I thought, you know what, she showed some really great albums, all classic albums in my opinion. And I thought, you know what, let me do this contest. Steve's been, I guess, calling it sort of the easiest contest out there, and in one sense it is. In another sense, it's really hard to stick to 5 go-to albums, but I've got 7, so I'm cheating a little bit. I'm going to present them in chronological order, and there's a definite pattern to the albums that I've got. Got one album from the 60s, one album from the 70s, and then everything else is from 1980 to 1992, so nothing beyond 1992, but the bulk, I would say 4 of these 7 albums are from 88 to 92, which is probably the period where I was really most into music, and music was most influential for me. So let's get started. So the first album from 1967, and for me, go-to albums are albums that you never get tired of. You always play them. Like, you never stop playing them. You play them maybe more than other albums in your collection, and for me, I never get tired of any of these albums, and again, this list could have been much longer, so I'm keeping it to 7 albums. So the first one from 1967, Jimi Hendrix, Are You Experienced? Jimmy's in my top 4 favorite artists of all time, and typically when I feel like listening to Hendrix, this is probably the first album that I think of. This, of course, is with the North American cover, North American song track listing, which I guess includes Purple Haze, Wind Cries Mary, and I think Hey Joe, which I don't think those 3 tracks were on the UK version of the album, and then they were subsequently released on the Smash Hits compilation, which I have as well. But I love this cover. It's amazing. And this is a gatefold. There you go. Yeah, just an unbelievable album. My favorite Jimi Hendrix album, and one of my favorite psych albums of all time. So 67, we go to 77, and again in my top 3 artists of all time, Bob Marley, and arguably my favorite album of Bob Marley's, Exodus, 1977. Everybody will know the big hits off of this, well-known tracks, One Love, 3 Little Birds, Waiting in Vain, but this entire album from beginning to end is an unbelievable album, and that's what's, I think, in common again with all these go-to albums is, you know, 99%, if not 100% of the tracks are just unbelievable. There's no skippable tracks for the most part on any of these albums, and this is certainly the case with Exodus from 1977. And we jump to 1980. We have The Beat, or as they were known here in North America, The English Beat, and their debut album, I Just Can't Stop It. This is my second favorite album of all time. Again, just some unbelievable tracks. Everybody will know Mirror in the Bathroom, but there's so much more on here. you know, obviously the beat from the UK, part of that British ska movement of the late 70s, early 80s. And a lot of these albums I found as well are debut albums. So obviously the Hendrix, Are You Experienced, and this another debut album as well. To 1988 and another debut album, the Sugar Cubes, Life's Too Good. You guys will know probably Birthday and some of the other singles off of this, Cold Sweat and Motor Crash. The Sugar Cubes, of course, from Iceland and led by Bjork. And Sugar Cubes also had another vocalist who did some, I guess, some spoken word parts. I think his name was Einar Orn, something like that. Some people really don't like him. I really like his added parts, and they, you know, they contrast really nicely against the Bjork singing parts. He also played trumpet. Don't expect, you know, Miles Davis type trumpet here. It was definitely more an alternative sort of trumpet sounds, which I think added a lot to these tracks. And I've always loved this album since its release back in '88. Obviously, first I had it on cassette, then went to CD, and then finally vinyl. Sugar Cubes, Life's Too Good, 1988. 1989, my favorite album of all time, the Stone Roses debut. This is just a masterpiece in my opinion, blending some 60s influences with the, I guess, indie sound in the UK at the time, and I guess the baggy Manchester sounds. This is just an incredible album. It's a shame that they only made 2 albums. Some of the big tracks off of here, I Want to Be Adored, I Am the Resurrection, She Bangs the Drums, just a fantastic, fantastic album. 1991, Teenage Fan Club, Bandwagon-esque. A lot of people think this is Teenage Fan Club's debut album, but it's not. I think their debut album was called The Catholic Education. This was certainly the album that got most people's attention and was a big hit for them. They played Saturday Night Live after releasing this album. Most of you guys will know the concept. Teenage Fan Club was sort of lumped in a little bit with the grunge movement at the time, but they and they sounded a little grungy, especially on this album and the follow-up 13, but they definitely had more of I guess a Big Star, maybe even a little bit of Birds harmonies in there, especially on the later albums. And this is a fantastic album. I've shown this before. I've shown the Ben Gibbard cover album of this album. I just love this album. It's unbelievable. The guitars, the melodies, just a classic. And finally, 1992, Catherine Wheel, Ferment. I would say this probably holds the title of my favorite shoegaze album of all time, although Catherine Wheel are not strictly a shoegaze band, but certainly on their first and second albums, I would definitely call those albums shoegaze, especially this one. This includes my second favorite song of all time, Black Metallic. Another big hit on here was I Want to Touch You. The swirling guitars, 2 guitars, one creating sort of a nice bed of wall of sound for the second guitar to come over top and just sort of swirl around. Amazing vocals from lead singer Rob Dickinson, who is the cousin of Iron Maiden's Bruce Dickinson. Catherine Wheel never bettered this album in my opinion, but certainly the other albums in their discography are amazing as well. And but this is my favorite, and to end off this this string of go-to albums. Okay, everybody. Steve, thanks a lot again for holding this contest. Congratulations again on the subs, and we'll see everybody next time. All right, bye.